What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Austin Show. Today we're looking at the new Hasbro Marvel Legends Thor Love and Thunder Wave. So we have a lot of cool figures here from the new MCU movie that will be coming out later this summer, but a lot of these figures look really cool. So starting off right in the front here, we have Thor. So we have Thor in his new battle armor, which looks really cool. I don't like the look necessarily of the helmet or just the look on his face, but the rest of the armor, just the colors look awesome. So that's a really cool looking figure. But behind him, we have the Jane Foster as Mighty Thor, which is really cool. We got her coming back, and then we have Gorr, the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale, which looks really weird, but also pretty cool at the same time, the way they carried off his look and stuff there. And then we also have King Valkyrie, of course, taking over New Asgard, and then we have the Ravenger Thor, since Thor left off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, so we have him there as part of the Ravengers, which looks really cool. I love the look of that figure. Ending off with our Guardians of the Galaxy themselves, so we have Starlord and the teenage version of Groot, and all of these, of course, come with the Build-A-Figures for Korg, so you can see Korg's main body there with Groot and everything. So all of these figures look pretty cool, and I'm excited to check them out, and especially to build that Korg there at the end. We can see his head right there. So very cool set overall that I'm super excited about. I'm super excited for the movie and everything when it eventually comes out. Just a lot of good looking stuff here all around, so I'm just super excited for it. So let me go and get these figures out of the box, and we'll take a look at them all together. So we're starting off with our new Thor figure, of course, from Thor Love and Thunder. So he looks pretty awesome here. He's got this big armor on, so I assume this is going to be more towards the end of the movie where he acquires a new set of armor and everything, but he just looks really cool here. The only issue with the figure itself I really have is the helmet design. I love the helmet. I always love Thor with the big winged helmet and everything. It's just the design on this figure and the face and stuff I don't think looks very good at all. And then it also looks like the helmet is up a little bit too high, so I don't know if you can really see it in there, but you can barely see his eyes, and his eyes just look so tiny for one. And then, like I said, the helmet's up a little too high or something, and so his eyes are barely seen in there. So I just don't like the helmet very much on this figure at all. I like the hair coming out of the back of it, and then just the all gold with blue. It almost looks like Wolverine's mask now that I look at it, but it's just a nice design just overall, but just didn't carry out very well in execution. So that's one issue I have with it. But otherwise, the armor looks really cool. It looks, pretty similar to Thor's we've had in the past, but it's all this metallic blue, gold, silver, and black. Just looks really nice. We got silver arms and the chainmail going down into gauntlet pieces with more silver and blue. I like the T sort of design on his chest. Of course, has the circles on his body that he's had in the past, as we'll see. Nice red cape hanging down off the back, which is just a thick piece of plastic that doesn't really do much or anything, but it just kind of hangs there and flops around and stuff. I like that it's up and connected into the shoulder pieces here, so we don't have the back peg that usually doesn't work out too well. Now, one thing I also noticed on this figure is right in here we have the silver, which I don't know if you can kind of see. There's weird paint details into the silver sections there. Well, on the box pictures and everything, this should be the metallic blue as well. So they painted it silver on this, even though, like I said, on the box it shows it as blue. So that's a little bit of issue there. But again, I like the circles going down on his chest, and then the transition into more of the black. So he's got the black legs, similar to what we've seen in the past. See some of that quilting design and stuff. Nice belt around the waist with some skirting hanging down and stuff. Again, with the nice metallic blue and all that. Just looks nice going into the legs again with metallic blue and silver. Just with all the blue and silver, it reminds me of Nova and stuff. So it's Thor joined the Nova Corps, but looks just pretty nice in the boots there as well. Weird sort of dorky boot design, but a lot of the Thors have this design. I just don't like it very much. As long as it works with the outfit and stuff, which I think it does, works overall pretty well for me. So not the greatest thing ever for Thor. There could be some improvements on this, but overall it's a pretty nice looking figure still. Now, of course, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't really know any sort of storyline stuff, but of course we've seen all the MCU movies, so you know what's going on with Thor. So we won't be able to go into a whole lot of detail unless I bring in some comic related stuff. But yeah, nothing really to go off here for this because I don't really know what sort of connection there is to this or anything, but just a nice looking set of armor on Thor. So I hope it looks much cooler in the movie, at least from pictures. I think it looks pretty awesome. Just on this figure, I don't really like it as much. But let's go and do his movements. So his head can twist a little side to side with that hair in the back that kind of gets in the way, but he can look down just a little bit and up just again straight on because of the hair. So the hair gets in the way a lot on this head as well. But then we got the shoulders that can come up to 90 degrees and rotate around within there. We get a bicep twist, the double elbow joint that can bend up that far, so not too bad at all. And then we get the wrist that twists around and flex back and forth. We have the ab crunch sort of right under the chest, so crunch forward and crunch back, again mostly back with a lot of the figures, and can twist all the way around. So got pretty good just swivel movements in there. And then we go down to the hips that can come up up to 90, it looks like, and out to the side a little bit. Surprised the skirting even lets it go at least that much. Thigh twist all the way around, and then we get a double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so not bad, but not as good as it could be. And then we get the foot that flexes back and forth, a little bit stiff, but flexes back and forth and can twist side to side. So pretty good movements overall, nothing too limiting or anything, pretty much what I'd expect for a Thor. And he stands up pretty easily. He has some issues with like the cape pulling him backwards, but we're going to have that issue with a lot of the figures in this set. But looks pretty nice just overall. Like I said, I wish the helmet and stuff looked a little bit better and had more accurate colors, at least to the pictures we've seen, but overall it's not bad. Now he comes with some accessories as well, so we get a fist hand, so if you don't want to have the grip hand on his right there, we also get a fist hand along with it. And then of course we also get Stormbreaker, his newer hammer, so it has the Groot arm and stuff we saw in Infinity War, and then the new molded like hammer and axe design there, so pretty nice just design overall. So let's go and put this into his hand. So there is Stormbreaker, and that overall looks pretty cool. It does sort of look like Thor. Like I said, just the helmet looks a little bit too weird on this figure, but other than that, it'd be nice to, switch out the head just for some other Thor unmasked figure or something. Probably look much more accurate to what we're going to see in the movie, but still looks pretty cool overall just for a different looking Thor figure, so it's not the same thing over and over again. This one does look a little bit different. Now we have some older figures that we can look at as well. Of course, nothing's really going to match with this figure, but like we have the older version we saw, of course, last time we saw Thor was when he was the fat Thor, so this is from the in-game battle where he had his armor back, but of course he was the fatter version, which we see in the trailer for the movie that he works out and stuff to get back into his shape, so we won't see that anymore. And then of course, to me, the closest looking like armor wise that we have with MCU figures is this other figure that I don't remember what it's from. I feel it's the more recent Thor from like the first Thor movie we got from like the 10-year collection or whatever it's called, but to me this was the most similar Thor armor wise and stuff that just looked like you could have taken this one and pretty much just repainted it into this new Thor. Obviously there is differences, but I just thought overall that was the most similar things. And of course, like I said, you could switch out the heads if you want, put that head on this one, so that way it look, like I said, like it probably will in the movie more without the helmet on. But overall, very cool there. I just want to show those Thor comparisons to what we last saw him and the most similar Thor that we have here so far. But pretty cool looking Thor that I'm excited to see in the movie, how it works out and everything with this armor design, because I think it does look cool, just the helmet's a little bit too weird. And next up we have the Mighty Thor, which of course is Jane Foster, again played by Natalie Portman. Now this looks pretty cool, and pretty good to how it does in the comics. Now we've already looked at Mighty Thors in the past, the comic versions, and from that storyline, Jane had developed cancer, and to be able to like save her or whatever, she gets the powers of Thor, so it helps cure her cancer and all that. But I don't know exactly, once again, how it's going to work in the movie, but I think overall they gave the look pretty good. I really like this figure for especially the Mighty Thor, except for the face. I don't think the face looks as good or as much like Jane Foster to me, or Natalie Portman in this case, but I don't think it looks horrible. And it's kind of weird to me that she has the blonde hair, where at least for me, every time I picture Natalie Portman, I picture brown hair, so that just looks a little bit off as well. But overall, I think they carried off the look, like I said, really well. So they gave her the blonde hair again to match more with the comics, so it has the more lighter blonde in the front and then the darker blonde up top. But there's the face. Like I said, at certain points you see like Natalie Portman, like maybe there where she has like the mole on her face, whatever, it kind of looks more like her, but just at certain points this figure doesn't really look that good. Like I said, it's just at certain angles you kind of see Natalie Portman in there, so I don't think they did the face that good. But of course we'll probably get an updated figure on in like a year or two. But then she's got the red cape hanging down, so obviously she's going to be just like Thor, so she's going to have an outfit very similar to Thor's. We get the all black, red, and silver armor, which looks pretty nice. Got some red in the center and still has like the circles and stuff, so she has the circles running down, and again the all black, red, and silver there, which looks pretty nice. We get her arms that are big and muscular, which there in the trailer when we see her in the movie, she's got huge arms, so it looks pretty weird that Natalie Portman has such big muscles and stuff, but it's got some nice gauntlet piece and gloves there on her hands with some black armor and stuff. Nice red skirting there hanging down around her waist, so I like how it's got the cutouts and everything, so it'll probably help with a lot of the movements. But the nice maroon collar with all the details like etched in there and stuff, and some silver around the belt there looks awesome. Black leggings going all the way down. We got some silver knee pads and then the silver boots. I like the wings on them, and then the red or maroon collar boots there as well. Just looks really cool. It's just a really nice representation of the figure, bringing in Mighty Thor into the movie. I think it looks pretty much as it can like she does in the comics and everything. Just a really nice looking figure. So for her movements, we get the head that can twist a little side to side and then down and straight on. Just again, her hair is just all in the way, so you're not going to get much movements in there at all. But then we go to the shoulders that can come up to 90 once again, rotate around within there. We get the bicep twist, the double elbow joint that seems a little bit stiff but can bend up pretty much up all the way on itself, which is of course really good there, so that is nice. Wrist can twist around and flex up and down for this hand. We get an ab crunch right under her chest there, so crunch forward and crunch back, so pretty good crunching there, and of course can twist side to side, so good swivel once again overall for her. We get the hips that come up to 90 out to the side of the far. Like I said, with the skirting being cut, it gets out of the way pretty easily. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, not too far off from kicking her butt, so pretty good. And then we get the foot that flexes back and forth and can twist side to side. So once again, pretty good movements. It's nice for a female, you know, having some thicker joints, so she's not going to get like as warped as easily in storage, and then having the nice feet so we don't have the high heels, so she's easier to stand. So just really nice having a female figure that's easy to stand is really nice, and having all the additional joints like the double elbows and stuff. So that is really nice overall just for her. Now for Mighty Thor, especially if you've seen her like from the comics and stuff, she's usually always wearing the helmet, and then we see her wearing it in the trailer as well. So she has like the Thor helmet, so the helmet all covering up her face, but it has the nice wing designs on it, and then the nice maroon etchings on there as well. So pretty nice helmet design overall, with her blonde hair sticking out through it once again. So pretty similar hair design just with the helmet on it. So let's go and switch the helmet out for this. So there she is with the helmet, and looks much more like the Mighty Thor as we see from the comics. So that looks really nice, and probably my preferred version to have her with the helmet and everything. That just looks awesome. And of course, with her being Thor, since she got the powers of Thor, she also got Mjolnir. So we have Mjolnir here back put together after Hela destroyed it in Thor Ragnarok. So you can see it all cracked and everything. So it's all put back together somehow. So we'll have to see how that works out in the movie, but pretty nice overall. So let's go and put this into her hand. So there she is with Mjolnir, pretty similar to how she looked in the trailer there. So that looks really awesome. I love it. With the helmet design, I think is cool having Mjolnir, which it almost looks like Mjolnir is a little bit bigger than normal. I don't know if they did that to make it look much bigger, like compared to her, or what the deal is, but it just overall looks bigger than it normally is, which is kind of crazy. Well, here is the comic one as well, so you can see the comparison. So this is how Jane Foster appeared in the comics when she first became Mighty Thor. So you can see a lot of the similarities they carried over between the different figures and stuff. Of course, this one's more from the comics, so you can see much more comic related stuff that they try to carry over some of the features into the new one. But I definitely like the look of this one from the MCU. I think they did a really good job, like I said, translating, and I almost think it actually looks better to me, and the figure overall is better as well. So definitely a much better version of Mighty Thor here, and a really nice just figure overall for her. I think she looks really good. And next up, we have our villain of the movie, Gorr the God Butcher, which is played by Christian Bale, which if you didn't know, you can clearly see it in the face. I think the face on this figure is probably like one of the best ones, even though he's got all this makeup and everything on. You can like so tell that's Christian Bale's face just with the eyes and the mouth design. It just looks so much like Christian Bale. It's ridiculous. But it's a pretty cool looking figure overall. Like, I don't think it's the greatest, like especially if you've seen Gorr the God Butcher from like the comics and stuff. It doesn't really look anything like it. This looks so much like Voldemort from the Harry Potter series. It's just weird. Just he has all the scars and everything all over his body, but that's just with the all white skin and everything. He just needs black robes instead of these white ones, and he'd look just like Voldemort. But pretty nice just overall looking figure, especially with that likeness. It's just crazy. But since we've never seen Gorr in any of the movies or anything, I thought I'd go ahead and tell you some of like the story from the comics. But Gorr is a creature that almost looks like the Twi'leks from Star Wars. So he has like two like head tails that come off his head, but he's still like an all white alien. But he was living a miserable life, but had trusted in the gods to answer his prayer. But after losing his wife and all his kids, he was convinced that gods didn't exist, until while on exile he saw two gods fighting and realized, oh, gods do actually exist. And so during the fight he took up Null, which was one of the gods that was fighting, and Null, to my understanding, is sort of like the god of the symbiotes or whatever, the king of the symbiotes, and we'll see him in a figure coming out later this year. But he took Null's sword and killed the other god, and after feeling the powers from killing a god, he vowed to seek vengeance against all gods and traveled through the cosmos to get revenge. So he was a very troubled guy that finally found an opening and like meaning in life, and decided to go on it whole hog and just sort of kill all these creatures. And so I assume he'll come across the different gods we see throughout the trailer, like Thor, and then probably the Olympic gods and stuff like that, and have to deal with him. But overall looks, like Per said, pretty cool. I don't know if it's like the coolest thing ever. Like I said, just looks like Christian Bale with all white body paint and then some like scars and stuff all over. And then a pretty cool body, you know, looks very togish and stuff. Has the like cape around his neck that goes down to the back to the cloak or whatever there, and then has the all white body suit, so almost like a long white tunic and stuff, a belt wrapped around his waist. But kind of funny underneath, it looks like he's got like sweatpants on or something, just with the design there on his legs all the way down to his white feet. So not the like most creative or dynamic looking character ever, but pretty cool, and I hope he turns out pretty awesome in the movie as well. But for his movements, we get his head that can twist all the way around, and he can look down that far and up that far. So pretty good movements overall, mostly because we don't have any hair to worry about on this figure. Then we get the shoulders that can come up to 90 degrees and rotate around within there. We get a bicep twist, which is a little bit stiff there. You can twist all the way around. A double elbow joint that can bend up pretty close up on itself, so about that far there, so not bad at all. Wrist twist around, flex up and down for this hand, and look at his weird fingers. He's got like white nails, but then all black around him. It looks pretty crazy. Then we have the ab crunch, but it's down at the waist, so it can crunch back and forth there and twist around as well. So once again, nice swivel movements. Now for his legs, like a horse being covered by the skirting, if we can kind of fold it up, we'll get to him more. So legs can come up just a little bit, maybe 45 out to the side a little there as well. But we have the thigh twist that can twist all the way around, a double knee joint that can bend up at least that far, so not too bad at all. So of course having some issues with the outfit being in the way, but not bad. And then we get the ankles that twist all the way around, so right at the bottom of the pants leg can twist around, and then we get the feet that flex back and forth and can twist a little side to side. So obviously he doesn't have the best movements ever, especially with the long covering there in the front, but I'm surprised how good of movements he does have even with that. So not bad at all. And of course the likeness of Christian Bale is just the most outstanding thing about this figure. It's like they had issues, with like the Thor and like the Natalie Portman stuff, but they nailed Christian Bale. Now the only other accessory he comes with is the sword that he got from Null. So again, I don't know if we'll see that in the movie or not, but since we do have the sword, it's all black, the Necro sword, which is actually a symbiote itself. It was the first symbiote that manifested from a shadow of Null. So there's Null being brought up once again, and it took the form of a sword made from the living darkness. So it's just a really dark, ominous sword, probably made from a symbiote. So we'll have to see how that plays any sort of connection in the movie or anything, but it looks pretty nice. A nice brown handle with a black like ball at the end of it, black guard there, which looks awesome, and then the sword, which looks really cool and like almost all burnt and stuff, but I assume it's the symbiote and stuff, so pretty cool. So that just looks awesome overall. So let's put the sword in his hand. So there I got the sword in his hand, and that looks pretty crazy cool there with the black sword against his all white body and stuff. Just looks ridiculously cool. So very nice looking figure overall there for Gore the God Butcher, and I'm super excited to see how he turns out in the movie. And next up we have King Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson, and I think this figure looks pretty cool. I do have some issues with like some of the paint jobs, but overall I think this is a good figure, mostly because it's probably the best version of her we've had, at least figure wise, and getting her to stand up. I have so many issues with our past Valkyrie figures, but this one I have no issues with at all. So she looks pretty cool here. Of course, if you don't remember, at the end of Endgame, Thor left her in charge of New Asgard as their king, so that's why she's King Valkyrie, and the Valkyries are just former Asgardian warrior maidens that served Odin. So we saw part of her backstory throughout Thor Ragnarok and stuff, but looks pretty good overall. I don't know if the face looks that good. I don't think it's horrible, but I think like the other Valkyrie I'll show you here in a second has much better face design and just like that better overall. But I really like her braided hair, just the really nice design up top, going into like the ponytail, and then all the hair hanging down in the back with some blue even in the hair. Just looks really cool. I really like that design. I think they did a really good job. Like I always say, Marvel Legends a lot of times has really good hair designs, and this is no exception. And then she has the outfit pretty similar like we see with Thor, and then Jane as well. They have the pretty similar designs. It almost looks like she has a whale like tail design there, but like nice inscription piece up here like around the neck, but still has like the silver circles all in her body. But the all black and white outfit looks pretty cool as well. Once again, even has some straps and stuff, nice glove pieces, so makes her look sort of like gothic, which is pretty cool. Nice some silver thrown in there as well. Black legs going all the way down to give more straps and stuff there on the legs, all the way down to the boots that have some silver on them. She does have the high heels, but they're more flat heels, and it makes it easier to stand. And then she even has a nice little knife here on the side of her leg, which is pretty cool, with a blue cape in the back, which looks awesome. This light blue color that stands out, of course, with all black and white, so the light blue just stands out. And it's weird how it even has like this little like curl at the end of it, which is kind of cool but weird at the same time. So just a nice figure. Like I said, the only issue really for me is that face design. I don't think it looks as well, and then there is a lot of issue with the white paint there around on her chest. I don't think they did a good job with the paint, kind of smeared it a lot. So other than that though, it's a much better figure for Valkyrie than we've had in the past. But let's go and do her movements. So her head there can twist side to side. Of course, the only limitations is her hair. You can probably get it all the way around if you get it up around her shoulder, but she can look down that far and up just straight on one. So once again, hair limitations here. But we got the shoulders that come up to 90 degrees and rotate all the way around. We get the bicep twist all the way around. A double elbow joint once again that can bend up pretty much all the way up on itself, so really good. Wrist twist around and flex up and down. Then we get the ab crunch right under her chest, so crunch forward, crunch back, so good crunching once again, twist around, and so good swivel all around. Then we get the hips that come up to about 90 there, not too bad. Out to the side, we're pretty far as well. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so not bad. Then we get the foot that flexes back and forth and can twist side to side. So once again, a really good figure, has really good joints, not hard to stand up at all, so really good figure just overall. And then for her accessories, she comes with the Dragon Fade sword, which was a sword of the Valkyrie, so pretty nice sword with this metallic teal blade, which looks cool, and then a nice white handle with some little like wing designs there for the hilt and stuff, so it looks pretty awesome. So let's put this into her hand. So there's Valkyrie with the sword, which looks pretty cool. And as mentioned with old figures, we can bring in this Valkyrie, which is the last one we saw, which was her from Endgame, where she had this all white armor, which actually looks pretty cool. I like the color stuff. You can see how much taller she is, like just figure wise. I don't know if they adjusted it for her real height or what the deal is, but just how much shorter she is. But I do think I like the head much more on this other Valkyrie figure. I like the hair design and just the overall face design. I think looks a little bit better, and at least to me more like Tessa Thompson. But of course I don't really know much of it from anything except from the Marvel movies, so it's hard to really tell. But I do like that head much more, which unfortunately we can't just switch it over because the skin tone's different, so it would look odd there too. So can't just switch it out, unfortunately. But like I said, this head isn't bad or anything, like it still works. I just wish the face looked a little bit better and more like that other one. But pretty nice figure overall for her, and no real complaints and stuff, like I said, besides the face and the paint issues, which is something I can't really control anything about. So pretty good figure overall. And next up, we have the Ravenger Thor, which looks pretty cool here. So again, looks like Thor, but just more like civilian-wise. And of course, he's Ravenger Thor because we saw him at the end of Endgame join the Guardians of the Galaxy on their adventure, going out to, I guess, find like the meaning of his life, to find something more for himself. So he went with the Guardians, and so he looks pretty cool over here. Also, much like the other Ravengers, or like you see with Starlord and stuff, he's got the red coat on, so he has a red vest in this point. Of course, has to have the sleeves torn off to show his arms and stuff, but nice face design there for Chris Hemsworth. I think it looks a lot like him, really good there with the long blonde hair. Looks like even a little braid design there with the ponytail in the back, so that looks pretty awesome. So nice there with the jacket design. And of course he has the tank top shirt on. That looks pretty familiar if you know Jack Burton from the Big Trouble in Little China movie, played by Kurt Russell, which is pretty fun since Kurt Russell was Star-Lord's dad as Ego. So that is pretty cool there. Nice brown belt with a big buckle on it there as well, and some blue jeans. Again, I don't know if this could be more from the Big Trouble in Little China stuff, not really sure, but pretty fun that they included all that with nice, like I said, sort of blue jean material going down the legs and into the knee-high black boots with the yellow wrappings around them, which is very much a classic Thor thing. So looks pretty cool overall, and I'll have to show you some figures and stuff with that, but just a really nice looking figure. This is a pretty popular figure and stuff. I know a lot of people like it, and it's a really nice figure at that as well. But for his movements, his head then twist a little side to side. Again, hair is going to be in the way. Look down and up. So again, very much limited because of the hair, but the shoulders can come up 90 and rotate all the way around. We get the bicep twist, the double elbow joint that bends up that far, so not too bad for him. Wrist twist around and flex back and forth. We have the ab crunch there separating the shirt, so crunch forward, crunch back. Of course, jacket's in the way, but really good crunching overall for the figure. Twist all the way around at the waist. Hips come up 90 out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so good once again, almost kicking his butt. And then the foot's real stiff on this, but can flex back and forth and can twist side to side. But again, still has sort of that like dorky shoe design that almost reminds me of like slip-ons and stuff, but just part of his boot design that I think looks dorky, that they can't get good boots on Thor for some reason. But just a really cool looking figure all. This is just such like a badass looking figure. I absolutely love it. And of course for accessories, he comes with Stormbreaker, so he's got to come with Stormbreaker. And this is one's a little bit different looking, so it has more of like a darker blade, and then the wooden handle looks a little bit different shade of brown and stuff, but otherwise, you know, just another Stormbreaker once again. So let's go and put this into his hand. So there is Thor with Stormbreaker. Now, like I said, I do want to bring in some other figures here just so you can see some looks and stuff. So here is that classic Thor. So again, classic Thor, so the way he looks. I believe this is like one of the anniversary Thors or whatever, but there you can see the boot design where he has the black boots, but all wrapped up with the yellow band and stuff. So pretty similar with the leggings there. So just want to show you that. And again, you can see a lot of similarities with the Thor figures. So the blue jeans as well that go along with there, the blue pants material. And then he has, instead of the red cape, he has the red vest on it. So he just needed like a black tank top or something, and you pretty much have like a more modern design of the classic Thor, which would be pretty cool. But just want to show that, as well as Thunderstrike, which is what a lot of people call this version of Thor, is his Thunderstrike version, which is a different character from Thor, but has a lot of looks and similarities to Thor with the vest on it and everything. So just wanted to show that as well, since like I said, a lot of people consider this to be like the Thunderstrike version of Thor as well. But just a nice looking figure overall, and really cool to add to the collection. And next up, we've got Starlord. So again, part of the Ravengers of Thor leaving with the Guardians and everything. We've got Starlord along here with them, since the Guardians are going to play a role in the movie as well. And so overall, figure-wise, looks good except for the face. I absolutely hate the look of the face. Like, it just reminds me so much of the guy from Home Alone that has like the poofy hair, the taller of the two burglars. That's every time I see this, that's what I picture. But like looking at the face in real life, I can see like stuff. I'm like, oh, that's Chris Pratt. But so it's kind of like the Natalie Portman, Jane Foster one. Like at certain angles you see the Chris Pratt, but then at other angles it just looks ridiculous. But to me, it just does not look like Chris Pratt. Just the overall face design, I just absolutely hate that. So that may be something I may have to try and switch out or something, or just deal with it or whatever. But otherwise, I think the body looks pretty good. So he's got the long red trench coat, once again very similar to what Starlord always has. Even like some like the armor designs with the buckles and stuff on there is cool. Nice strap going around the front of him. But I like the armor pieces, like the gold there up on his shoulder and stuff, and on his forearm gauntlets he still has the brown gloves. So just pretty nice there. Even like the blue detail going all the way down the front of it as well. Red vest and t-shirt underneath, it looks like, as well. Brown belt that kind of goes into like his holster pieces that look like they didn't paint the holsters, because it looks like material's running down to connect with the belt, but didn't paint it there. And then some like really dark brown pants, it looks like, could be black, but it looks really dark brown, but with some nice details and designs into it, going all the way down to the boots that are dark brown once again, it looks like, but have some of the lighter brown on the front of them there to separate out the colors. So not a bad looking figure overall for Starlord. You know, looks pretty Starlord-ish, but just hate that face design so much. But let's go and do his movement. So his head can twist around. I thought it'd be able, yeah, if you kind of get it twisted all the way around there, color was away a little bit, but you look down that far and up that far. So not too bad at movements. Feels like a little bit stiff in the neck, but pretty decent movements overall for him. Shoulders can come up a little bit. So he has these shoulder armor pieces that kind of get in the way, so you can't really go up too far. So maybe just under 90 degrees there, but can rotate around. We get a bicep twist under there as well, and a double elbow joint that can bend up that far at least. So not too bad, but not as good as some of the others. Wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. I'm sure there's an ab crunch somewhere in there. Of course, with the jacket and the vest being in the way, don't really get it, but you can see he can crunch back and forth there and twist around at the waist. We have a thigh twist that can twist all the way around. A double knee joint that will probably have to move to the front here so you can bend it up, but it can bend up that far, so not too bad at all. Like I said, not great, but not as bad as some of the others. And then it feels like there's a shin twist. I can't really get it. You can see it twist a little back and forth, but I can't get it to go all the way around there at the top of the boot. But then the foot itself can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So overall, it doesn't have the best movements ever, but of course it is limited by the coat and the vest and stuff, so kind of expected there. But other than that, it's, you know, pretty nice figure. Like I said, just remove the head and you have a pretty good Starlord figure. But of course, being Starlord, he has to come with his pretty usual accessories, so we get his quad blasters. So of course, with these, you can put him on the like little holders there on the leg. You just slide him, the handle pieces into there, and so hold him, but let's go and put him into his hands. So there is Starlord with both the quad blasters, so that looks pretty cool overall. And then just for comparison, here is the older version of Starlord that I think face-wise looks a little bit better. I don't know when this Starlord was, but I thought overall it had the best looking face and still has the trench coat and stuff pretty similar to this newer one. So I wanted to just bring this one in to show, like I said, I feel this face looks much more like Chris Pratt. Still not like 100%, but still much better than this newer one. But I just, like I said, wanted to show that off there to show the comparison between the two versions, especially the faces, what I'm looking at there. But like I said, nice Starlord overall, just need to switch out the head probably. And then we've got Groot, so it's like the teenage version of Groot. Similar to what we saw in Infinity War and stuff. Of course, Groot was snapped, so he lost the 5 years or whatever off his life, or his ability to grow or whatever, so he's still in the teenage form here, but looks pretty good. I think this is probably one of the better looking Groots, you know, especially the teenage one. We'll see the comparison. I think overall looks very much Grootish-like with the face there. So of course, he's just an all-tree creature and stuff, so he's got a lot of wood, so it looks very much like a tree trunk and everything for his face, with the mouth and the eyes cut out, which I think look really good. I like the look overall of that, you know, looks very similar to the movies. And up top we have the whole of his head, so I like the swirl in there with some of the branches growing out, and then of course the pieces like sticking up and stuff with some green on it. Looks just pretty nice overall. And then of course his all tree body with some green thrown in there and stuff. It looks pretty similar to the other one, just a little bit lighter color with some of the green added in there as well. So pretty nice just looking figure overall. I think the face is the biggest upgrade, and then of course they did change the colors and stuff as I mentioned, which let's go ahead and bring another one here now, so there you can see the difference. So this is the last one we got that I think the face doesn't look anywhere close to the movie, as well as the head design, but overall their bodies are pretty much exactly the same, just, you know, lighter colors with some different green on it and stuff. So just want to show that because I definitely like the look of this Groot. To me, like I said, face wise looks just how it does in the movie. But let's go do his movement. So his head can twist all the way around. He can look down that far and up that far, so really good movements in the head actually. Then we get the shoulders that come up about that far. Of course, some like the extra pieces here up top don't let it go up any really farther than that, so it goes up there under 90, still and rotate all the way around. We get the single elbow joint that can bend to 90 and has the rotation, and then we get the wrist that twists around and flex up and down. I have crunch right under his chest here, so crunch forward, crunch back a little bit. It's a little bit of crunch there. It almost looks like he's got a little belly on him, but can twist side to side. Hips can come up and about 90 there, out to the side that far. A little bit of a thigh twist right at the actual hip piece, so twist a little back and forth. And then we get the single knee joint that bends to 90 and has the rotation in it as well, followed by the foot that can flex back and forth and can twist side to side. So overall, it's a pretty good figure, very similar to that other group body-wise and stuff. They just switched out the head that I think looks really good. But for accessories, first we get an additional hand. So we have a hand here with a trigger finger, which is pretty cool. I guess it comes with that. So let's switch this hand out. So there he's got the trigger finger hand, and that of course is used for the gun that he comes with. So he comes with this all silver gun, of course, nice futuristic looking gun, similar to what a lot of the Guardians. So let's go and put this into his hand. So there I have the gun in Groot's hand, so that looks pretty fun. Of course, it doesn't really go in that perfect because he has limitation in his arm movements and stuff, but that's probably about the best I can get it in there. So that's pretty fun that he does come with the gun and stuff to go along with it, and you can get it the trigger finger hand and stuff for it, but like I said, it doesn't really work out too well. You'd have to probably mess around with it and stuff, but that's pretty cool. But he also comes with some additional hands where he has his like stretching out hands where he's starting to like growing like the fingers and stuff, so he has these tendrils and stuff growing out. So we have this long straight one, and then ones with, like I said, his fingers growing out, and there's some vines and leaves growing on it. So let's switch his hands out for these. So there's those hands on Groot as well, so he can have them going out like he's going to reach for somebody and tangle them all up, sort of slam them around like he tends to do. So that looks pretty fun. It's hard to get in the camera because it kind of goes blurry, but that looks pretty cool, having those tendrils there on his hands as well, like his hands are growing out. So you made Groot angry there and stuff. So nice looking figure overall. I like those additional hands, but I like also getting the gun with this since he does use guns and stuff. So pretty fun figure overall here for the teenage version of Groot. And that leads us to our Build-A-Figure of Korg, which looks pretty cool here. Again, similar how he's going to look in the movie as we see him in the trailer. So he looks a little bit different, where now he's got this fur collar piece up on his shoulders, which looks pretty nice overall. Has like these leather gauntlet pieces with some steel on them. They're on his forearms and stuff. I like the belt around his waist with the big ram head on it with the nice big gold horns and stuff there on gold. Looks pretty cool. And then down his leg, he's got some pants. So he's got these blue pants on with some cool designs with some different colors of red and pinks and stuff on it. Overall, with the blues, looks pretty cool. Some knee pads there, and then some fur down on his lower legs as well, leading to his feet. So of course he's got the all rock-like skin because he's a Cronian, so that's just kind of what they are, very similar to like the Thing from Fantastic Four. But overall he looks pretty cool, a little bit different than the past Korg figure. I do have some issues with this, especially in his legs here. His legs tend to like to split out a little bit, so he like always gets like a wide stance, so it's hard to get his legs to like stay straight up and for him to stand and stuff. So that's really the only issue I have with it, but otherwise it looks pretty cool. It looks much like Korg, like I said, he does from the trailer and stuff, so no real issues here or anything, but pretty nice looking figure just overall. But we can do his movements, so his head can twist all the way around there. Now I do have some issues with weakness of like the joints, like of the Builder-Figure pieces. So like his head obviously came separate, so you had to pop it onto the body, but like when I try to get to look down, his neck's a little bit stiff, so like when I try to push on it, it almost like keeps like popping his head off and stuff, and I had the same issue with an arm. So he's like not built together very well, but if you like get it in and like popped on and stuff and don't do too many movements, he stays together perfectly fine. Just one point that I just went to look down with his head and it just completely fell off the body. So that's one thing you may have to look out for if you're trying to get this figure, is that has some looseness in some of the joints with like the connections of the Build-A-Figure pieces. But the head overall pretty good. Then we get the shoulders that can come up under 90 there. Of course he's got these big rock-like pieces there, so it gets in the way, so it comes up that far, rotates around within there. We get a bicep twist, the double elbow joint that can bend up that far at least, so not too bad for, especially for a big rock figure. Wrist can twist around and it looks like flexes up and down. It's hard to get the bend, but it does flex up and down there. We have the ab crunch in the middle, so crunch forward and crunch back a little bit, but mostly forward, which is good. Twist around in there as well. We get the hips that can come up to 90, out to the side a little bit there. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so again, not too bad for a big figure. And then the foot can flex back and forth and can twist a little side to side. So overall, I'm surprised with as good of movements as he has, since like I said, he's a big rock creature. You'd figured he'd have limited movements, but overall he's not too bad. I do have, like I said, some issues getting in the stand, mostly because his legs keep like spreading out, so it's hard to get his feet in the right position because the legs keep adjusting. Pretty nice looking figure overall. I like the colors, I like everything that stands out about it. I just hope I like it as much in the movie, because like just seeing the pictures at first, I didn't like it. I don't like the pants and all that stuff, but in the figure form I do actually like it a lot. So hopefully once I see the movie I'll enjoy it there too. Now he also comes with an accessory of his Sakarian laser rifle as well, so the same sort of like club and gun weapon that he's had before. So let's go and put this into his hand. So there there is the laser rifle in his hand, which looks pretty cool there as well. And of course, we have had this figure before, so here is the older version of Korg. So they look pretty similar, you know, just look like they maybe thickened him up a little bit more, just overall around the body, and then of course lightened up the color. So I like the color and stuff much more than the new one, but I just think I like the armor and stuff on this older one more. So I wish they would have just pretty much kept the armor, but with the new design body and everything. But I guess they just, you know, switch it up for the movie and stuff, and of course sells another action figure. So I guess overall it does the job it's supposed to. But like I said, I do like the armor a little bit better on this other Korg figure, but this one I have no real issues with at all. I think it's a pretty cool looking figure just overall there for Korg as our Build-A-Figure. Well, there is our Marvel Legends Thor, Love, and Thunderwave all together, and I think it looks pretty cool. It's awesome to get a lot of these figures. I think a lot of them look cool. Of course, a lot of them I think are the best versions of the figures so far as well, so I just love this wave a lot. Of course, in it we got the Thor, Mighty Thor, Ravenger Thor, King Valkyrie, Gore the God Butcher, Starlord, and Groot, of course, with our Build-A-Figure of Korg there in the back. So a lot of good figures in this wave that I like a lot. Like I said, some have some issues. They could easily tweak a little bit on these figures, but otherwise I think they're all, like I said, the best versions of themselves they can be. So very nice wave overall that I really like a lot. But let me know what you thought of these figures down in the comments, and if you enjoy my review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.